The House is expected to vote again today to elect a new speaker after Congressman Jim Jordan fell short in the first ballot. Joining us with the latest is Punchbowl News co-founder Jake Sherman. He's also an NBC News and MSNBC political contributor. Jake, here we go. Got any idea as to what's going to happen today?
Yeah, I don't think Jim Jordan's going to make it. I think that is plainly obvious to those who are paying attention in the Capitol, to be honest with you. I think the big question is, does he go a third round? He had 20 opponents on the first round. He's expected to have more than 20 opponents on the second round. Some of his supporters only committed to a first ballot vote for Jim Jordan. And where do we go from there? If he goes to a third ballot, I think he's going to bleed a lot more support. I think that's a reality. And I think the next question is this. Does the House move? And I think it will. And we reported this morning in our AM edition that it will move to install someone like Patrick McHenry as a temporary speaker until the end of 2023 or sometime in January of 2024. The question is, will Democrats support that? They will be needed to support it because I think a lot of people on the right are not going to like that. And then the larger question, and this is a question that you will probably have for Kevin McCarthy when he's on your show later, is does he try to make a comeback? I don't think that I think he would struggle, to be honest with you, to get the support he needs to become speaker again. But all of these are open questions. This is really unprecedented, Becky. It's just absolute chaos. And the larger question now becomes, how do House Republicans put this back together? Their conference is deeply, deeply divided. A lot of bad feelings, a lot of division among Republicans right now.
I think one of the craziest tidbits that I've read in all of this came through Axios, kind of quoting what happened on CNN. They point to Representative Ken Buck, who voted for House Majority Whip Tom Emmer in this. He was the only Republican to vote to oust McCarthy as Speaker while also opposing Jordan on the first vote. And CNN spoke to him and said, do you really want Emmer from the job? And he said, no, I don't. I don't like Tom Emmer. I figure this would be the worst job in America. He said Mike Rowe wouldn't want to do this for his TV show, Dirty Jobs. This is a terrible job. And maybe that's the answer. Is there anybody in the House of Representatives who actually could get elected? Because you're going to need from both sides, right?
You know, traditionally, you don't need from both sides. That's the irony. I don't think
there's nobody. I don't think there's anybody on either side of the aisle who's going to be able to do it within their own caucus. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You can't do it if you're Hakeem Jeffries. You can't do it if you are any of the Republicans at this point. It's going to take a bipartisan coalition.
Yeah, at this point, it probably will. I don't think there's any single Republican who could get 217 votes to get the job on their own. And just to put that in context, that's stunning. That never happens in the House of Representatives. Almost always, going back 100 years, people get elected to the speakership with their party and their party only. But there's not a single Republican that I could think of that will get 217 or 218, depending on the attendance, on their own, including Patrick McHenry. Hakeem Jeffries, to his credit, has held together all 212 Democrats on his side. He would need five Republicans. He would need 5 Republicans to vote for him.
No. When hell freezes over, yeah, that's here's what I was thinking.
I agree.
Here's what I was thinking, Jake. So, if you just did a simple, let's say you just did a vote count. I mean, Jordan missed 20. What was McCarthy was 8, right? So you got Gates and the other 7. So I mean, 8 is better than 20. So he had 96%. If it was purely just percentages, he might be considered to have be able to wrangle the most, but still be missing 8. Any way that you could shear off 4? Nancy Mace was not. I don't know what her deal was. She wants to be vice president or something. But could you get back 4 of them, leave Gates and a couple of the real dead enders, hardline, whatever you want to call them? They get criticized so much. Maybe that would work. I mean, it seems like McCarthy has more support than Jim Jordan.
McCarthy has infinitely more support than Jim Jordan, and more people like McCarthy than like Jim Jordan. Now, I think you could definitely take 2 away from that. I think there's a couple people who are soft nose on McCarthy, and after 3 weeks of doing this, I think you could probably eat away at his opposition. I don't know that you can get 4. And Joe, the larger question is, can McCarthy cut a deal with Democrats to take away this motion to vacate, which is an anvil hanging over his head? because that's the only way he could survive. And I don't know the answer to that, quite honestly. Democrats have not been willing to cooperate. But listen, Joe, I will say, and I've said this to McCarthy, and everyone is, and McCarthy knows this, this is his fault in the sense that he let this provision stay in place when he was negotiating with the right back in January. He knew this would happen to him at some point, and he knew, quite honestly, that he probably wouldn't be able to beat this back. So the only way I would see McCarthy wanting to be Speaker again is if he was able to get rid of that motion to vacate. But yeah, this is the system of governance that we have right now, Joe, is that 8 Republicans in a narrow majority, 6 Republicans, 5 Republicans could boot the Speaker out of their job and make life difficult for the 96 or 97% of the conference that supports him.
But if we do I've seen another place you get like a certain amount of chips to bet on who's going to get the nomination or whatever. I mean, how would you do it right now? To be the eventual Speaker, I would think McCarthy gets at least 33% chance maybe, and then Jordan you'd probably give less to Jordan. What about Patrick McHenry? He doesn't even want it. Steve Scalise's out of the picture. Is there somebody else that we're not thinking about?
Patrick McHenry doesn't want it either.
Patrick McHenry
does not. No one wants this job. It's like someone said to me the other day. It's like being mayor of a city that was just nuked, and I think that's a useful.
So you got $100. What do you do? You put some, and you got 3-to-1 odds. Who do you pick?
McHenry. Yeah, I think
McHenry,
you pick McHenry until the end of the year or until
that's
January.
What you think, okay.
And just let me add one thing here is that I think McCarthy's opposition has probably grown beyond that 8. To be honest with you, a lot of people were soft yeses on McCarthy.